roughly minus 500 EC. A band of people that called themselves the Knights of Dawn arrived one day at the mountain in search of the Phoenix. They wanted to use it to kill Kzarka. Convinced by Silverfront, Orzeca allowed him to take the Holy Flame and travel with the Knights. She trusted Silverfront would come back with the flame and continue to be at her side. The God of Hope was then burned to death using the Phoenix. On the way back to the mountain, Silverfront and the Knights were ambushed by the Dracaniae, and Silverfront was killed. The Knights, however, were able to escape with the Phoenix and fled to lands unknown. The land was left in ruins, and a curse permeated the soul for it to never provide neutral sustenance ever again. At some point after this, one or more of the Idana appeared and sealed Kzarka, what is described to us as the eternity of darkness, a prison beneath the shadow of the world. We surmise this to be the Abyss. The survivors from fallen Orzeca spread throughout the continent. Some of them marched north, led by a person with a crown of bones. The same person, someone else, later on became the first and last monarch of the Hexe kingdom, King Belmorn. With the collapse of Orzeca, we're taking the liberty to claim, without proof, that many of the different modern kingdoms and nations came to be around at this time. At some point after this, without the Phoenix, Orzeca couldn't endure against the black spirit inside of her anymore. Endlessly, it tore apart her mind and soul, her body and her love. Her second and final death caused the demise of the 6 witches, but also the birth of several new races. The spirit like Ukchinchini, the Abat's demi-beasts, perhaps the ogre race, and the human like guardians. At an undetermined point in time, the ancient Tower of Will incident took place. The ancient civilizations disappeared. This could have happened 8,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago, or even more recently. In the last few centuries, different modern kingdoms and other nations started taking shape throughout the world. We know for sure that this is the case for Calpheon, Kron, and the current kingdom of Valencia in the east, which all appeared around this time. Elionian calendar year 120 to 140. An avatar of the sealed god of corruption, Kzarka, was summoned by the monarch of the Hexe kingdom with the help of the witch Hexe Marie. With the assistance of the deity, Belmorn went on a continent-wide campaign of subjugation. We do not have records of the war's progress, but we know Kzarka and Belmorn were eventually defeated in the land of Ulukita, which is believed to have been left barren afterwards due to the death of Kzarka's avatar there. Their forces lost the war, and the Hexe kingdom was destroyed. The kingdom's heartland would be left abandoned, a region of graveyards and isolated villages. Belmorn also died. The immortality granted to him by Kzarka left his spirit eternal. He became imprisoned, but with time he slowly turned his captors into worshippers. In the aftermath of the war, the one said to have used an eternal flame to kill Kzarka was crowned king. This marked the beginning of the kingdom of Medea in northern Media. Likely after those events, back in the west, an immortal alchemist convinced the monarch of the Kingdom of Kron to help him summon a god. A Black Sun event was initiated and stopped in the kingdom's capital. The castle and its vicinity were obliterated in the incident. The royal family was decimated, and the surviving populace spread out all around the continent. Some survivors rallied under the banner of a different branch of the same royal family and reconstituted the kingdom, now in the kingdom of Balenos, with its capital in Olvia to the west. Ileonian calendar year 235. Hidden in the canyons of western Valencia, cultists, followers of the aforementioned immortal alchemist, carried out another Black Sun event to summon Hadum, the god of darkness. This Black Death ravaged the continent in the course of its duration, halving the population in its entirety. From it, a wave of black spirits, invisible to the common folk, swept across the entire continent. Eventually, the Valencian military, with the assistance of the same alchemist, stopped the ritual. To keep control of their lands, the Western realms banded together in a military alliance against the Kingdom of Valencia, announcing that the Eastern nation was to blame for having caused the Black Death. This marked the beginning of the Calpheon-Valencia War, which would last for 30 years. Around the same time, an attempt to summon Kzarka in Calpheon's southern borders was carried out. Thankfully, it was thwarted. In the land of the elves, only the power of the Kamasylvia tree was able to defeat the Black Death, at a cost. The tree became depleted of its power and entered a deep slumber. This would forever change the elves and how they viewed both themselves and the world around them. Ileonian year 264 to 268. Around this time, natural disasters battered the world. Typhoons and tsunamis at sea, earthquakes on land, droughts and floods, tornadoes ravaging the lands, and sandstorms taking over the deserts. With their homelands devastated by nature's wrath, the barbarian tribes from the east migrated westward in search of new fertile lands to settle in. The established human realms and the barbarians clashed over control of the territory. Calpheon and its allies on one side, and Valencia on the other, were forced by the ongoing natural disasters to de facto end their war. No peace treaty was made, but both sides turned inward to try to stabilize their respective domains. Ileonian year 273 to 278. As the next decade went on, one way or another, the different western kingdoms fell under the control of Calpheon. Between Calpheon and Valencia and the line of Media, a Black Sun event was initiated and stopped. This event was later called the 3 Days of Darkness, and it brought ruin to the kingdom of Media. A civil war raged in the land of Kamasylvia. Eventually, most Vidir elves were expelled. They settled in the arid land of former Orzeca and renamed it Odilita. Ileonian year 277 to 278. By the end of the Calpheon-Serendia War, which would end with Serendia becoming a vassal of Calpheon, the Black Star, containing Gaudiide, was summoned and fell in northwestern Calpheon. The area was quarantined. It is now known under the name of Star's End. Additionally, during the same war, Belmont's eternal spirit took control of a new body, but a bridge fell on top of him, killing him once more. Ileonian year 286. The game begins here. Belmont takes hold of a new host body, but is stopped. Kzarka is partially summoned once more. Elezra steals its soul and seals him again. After this, Kzarka's soulless husk is repeatedly summoned in Serendia, but guilds of adventurers manage to stop it from fully manifesting. A Black Sun event, attempted in Medea involving Enedana's black spirit, is foiled. Ileonian year 286 to 287. After decades of trying to re-empower the Kamasylvia tree, the holy tree is finally revived. Its light, however, attracts the darkness. Ileonian year 287. The leadership of both Ganel and Vidir elves work together in secret to stop the god of darkness's encroachment. Publicly, they are enemies locked in conflict. The complete prophecy of the Abats in Ogginchini foretells the conflict beyond the gates of Ayeli, with the malevolent deity encroaching upon the world. The god of darkness begins to encroach upon the territories of Serendia and Calpheon. The soulless husks of Kzarka is affected by Hadum's encroachment. However, the might of the enraged, mindless god of corruption, even while not fully manifested, is enough to break the encroachment upon it and the land. The last stronghold, Taraxion, is reactivated. Elezra obtains the coordinates for the Black Spirit meteorite impact site and steals the heart of Atamagia. Finally, the Society of Equilibrium sails for Edania, the land north of Valencia. There, several legends of the past gather, now followers of the goddess of darkness. We hope you have enjoyed our very summarized timeline of important events in the world of Black Desert. If you'd like us to cover the timeline in more detail, please leave a comment. Until next time.